I mean, I just think it's crazy, Krystal. You know, I was talking with some people around here as well, around the menthol cigarettes. You know, I mean, nobody seemed to ask anyone who's poor. They're like, hey, do you want this banned, like, in your life? This is crazy.
The class part of it is so blatant, too.
Wasn't Eric Garner's mom's point very...
Oh, so good. Excellent. And Reverend Sharpton coming through with that,
I was like, hey, he's right.
Great point. It's so true, though. It is so true. I mean, we have a long history of criminalizing and demonizing the vices of the poor versus, you know, total acceptability around the vices of the well-off. And this is a perfect example of this. Now, I will say, with the exception of alcohol, Joe Biden is very consistent. He is a drug warrior through and through. I mean, he could...
Oh, you mean on weed?
Yeah, I mean, he could deschedule weed right now with the stroke of a pen, and he doesn't do it. Like, he really believes in the, like, 80s and 90s era war on drugs that he helped to architect and prosecute his entire career. And now he's bringing that drug war mentality, which has been a failure across the board, to smoking, vaping, nicotine. And I think it's terrible. I mean, I'm against the drug war all the way around. I think it has failed in terms of, it certainly hasn't reduced addiction, hasn't reduced overdose deaths, has been just a complete failure. And yet now we're expanding this to also cover menthol, nicotine, and vaping. And the way they do the vaping one is so weird. Like, just Juul?
Yeah, I know.
What? There's so many.
It's political. They nuked Juul because it was the largest market share and because Juul invented the space.
There are Kyle is like, you know, Kyle vapes, so I've like become familiar with the market. There's so many other vapes out there.
I know.
And they also have the same like fruity flavors and all of that stuff. So if your problem is them marketing to kids, crack down on the marketing. No problem with that. Crack down on, you know, the way that they're sort of like trying to get young kids hooked, because certainly that's not a good thing. But to just blanket ban and deny, ridiculous.
I completely agree. And that's what's really pissing me off about it, is that also, you know, if you look in AA and NA, for example, they sometimes, I'm not gonna say they encourage people to smoke, but they're fine. They're like, all right, you know, if you smoke, it's a better thing than heroin, for example. So why are you taking away these? I just come back to, I love the way that South Park did it, when Rob Reiner was like, excuse me, can you put out your death stick? And he's like, hey dude, I just got off a shift. Like, can you, and he's like stuffing his face full. He's like, Rob Reiner's obese. It's like, look, we have all kinds of crazy shit that we allow to be legal. So why are we cracking down right now on nicotine and on cigarettes specifically, which overwhelmingly target poor Americans? And I do think it's a dramatic, just a class bias. It's because most elite people don't smoke. And the way it all gets covered, people are like, oh, this is great. I'm like, hold on a second. Like, hold on. Why is nobody even looking out for a lot of these folks' interests? So anyway, it really pissed me off.
Listen,
looking at what's happening.
If you really care about people's health, pass universal health care. Encourage, incentivize healthy behaviors versus
better food.
I mean, incentivize and subsidize healthier food, which we do the polar opposite of.
Exactly.
We prop up the corn industry in particular, because Iowa's this key political state. And so that's why you have high fructose corn syrup in like literally everything. And I mean, the entire center part of the grocery store is just basically like different ways to make corn into a food product. So
completely.
Stop doing that. Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.